I don't know what I want to talk about in this video. Okay, so that's kind of a lie. I wanted to get into the trade update, I want to get into fan sentiment, I want to get into direction, I want to talk about what some of the media folks are saying about the Vancouver Canucks. And I know yesterday we did make a video commentary talking about the idea of a rebuild and whether or not it's time for Vancouver to actually explore that sort of a move. But there were a number of elements that weren't present in yesterday's commentary that have since popped up and that I do think are worth acknowledging today. So without further ado, let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks and just get into some of the latest, shall we? Starting out with this. This is lovely, isn't it? We're talking about a tweet posted by Schaefer and Price on Twitter that asks Vancouver Canucks fans, will Elias Pettersson get his confidence back? And you can already see, out of the 1734 votes, 72.8% of them say no. They don't think Elias Pettersson is going to get that confidence back. And I can't say that that thought is unreasonable. But let's just let some of the replies do the talking here. 731 days since he's lost it. At this point, what you see is what you get. Canucks fans have a perception that Elias Pettersson is some top-end scorer. He never was outside of one season. The real question is, can he even be a competent 75-point guy with strong defense and play driving? He has shown neither the strong leadership or dominant playoffs either. And, honestly, I kind of disagree with that. Pettersson wasn't great in the playoff run in 2024, but let's take a look at what he did in 2020 in the Edmonton bubble, shall we? Because I actually think he was productive there. Yeah, no, he was over a point per game in the Edmonton bubble. 17 games, 7 goals, 11 assists. We all remember that was the year that Bo Horvat absolutely torched the St. Louis Blues. It was incredible. I think that comment is giving Petey a little bit less respect than he deserves. He was a point per game-ish guy in that territory, and then he had 100 points, and then even the year that he was bad, he had 89 points in 82 games. I say bad, but he was bad in the second half of that year. But either way, Pettersson has displayed elite franchise-level changing point production throughout parts of his Vancouver Canucks past. And different parts of that included different names like Andrei Kuzmenko on his line and Höglander showing up and actually providing. Other parts saw Pettersson not produce when he was playing with guys like Ilya Mikheyev and Sam Lafferty, etc., etc. And now I will say he has been better than he was the season before, but he still is not anywhere near that $11.6 million caliber level of play like we kind of hoped he would be. And fans, after watching the game the other night against Chicago, where he's not shooting and he's deferring to Evander Kane, doesn't look like this market is confident that Petey is ever going to get his confidence back. Let's dive into some other tweets over here. Satyar Shah said this on Canucks Central yesterday, talking about Quinn Hughes. I don't want to sit here and say he looks like a player who has checked out, but he doesn't look like the locked-in player who's focused that we have seen in the past. It's crazy how all the eyes are on Elias Pettersson when he's actually playing better than Quinn Hughes. Tough watch, this commenter says. And the funny part is, this guy's username is Hughes for Norris. They are very clearly a Quinn Hughes fan, but they are still given their opinion that is very negative on the front of Quinn and his play. I know we'd been speaking about this a bunch over the past few videos, but Quinn Hughes has looked so much worse compared to what we have expected out of this guy. The level of play that he is capable of providing the Vancouver Canucks has just not been there. And whether or not it's the idea of him actually mentally being checked out or something about his training. He said in the offseason that he kind of lightened the load a little bit. He didn't want to get too extreme with the practice and whatnot. And you can debate that, hey, it doesn't really look like he was prepared for this season based off the way he's moving and the decisions he's making on the ice. He has not been as good as he could be. I said this in the video yesterday. Quinn Hughes is the best defenseman in the world when he is on. But he hasn't been on for one game this season. Let's continue with some more of these conversations here. This was posted onto NHL Rumor Report's Twitter account. It's a comment from David Pagnotta on Jeff Merrick's The Sheet from yesterday. Pagnotta said that the Vancouver Canucks, hey, Rutherford and Alvin, the trigger finger is itching right now to do something to help this club. And I love the top reply. Let's go out there and see this here. After we overpay for another middle six forward, so will mine. My trigger finger will also be itch. Oh my goodness, we are not going to expand on that. But I guess it does feed into just some of the psyche of Vancouver Canucks fans where it's like, yeah, this team is not doing well. They're very hurt. And now fans are clamoring for a rebuild on different parts of social media. If the team decides to go the high road and say, okay, no, we're actually better than what we're showing on the ice, this team has the potential and the talent and the guarantee that they'll show off more if we just get them some help. And at that point, it's like, oh, you could probably infer that Rutherford and Alvin, they said they didn't want to trade their 2026 first. Who knows if that's still going to be the case? Who knows if by the time this video is uploaded on YouTube, maybe there's already a trade. Who really knows? But to expand more so on the conversation of a rebuild, I also wanted to stick around on the Canucks subreddit because this post was made by Night Shift 31. I think it's really interesting to dive into. Rebuild talks are out of control right now. At 12 games into the year, the Vancouver Canucks have had 9 injuries on their top players on a condensed schedule and a new coach. The current record is actually great, considering that. The Canucks were blown out a couple of games and they have dominated a few games. They are looking stronger almost each game, and against the Hawks, they dominated for 45 minutes. A rebuild might have been needed for the last 13 years, but come on, it's 15 games into the season, and this knee-jerk murder everyone reaction every game is annoying and not helping anyone or the team. Yeah, the team losing is also annoying, but to quote one of the best, sports, man. And one of the top replies goes out there and says this: the best way to get ahead is to get started. It's almost like the Canucks ideally should have gotten started years and years ago, but they were kind of not allowed to do that. Another reply goes out there and says this: 13 years of the same mediocrity will do that. Everyone is realizing how bad the situation really is. The Canucks have no assets to build a contender around Quinn Hughes. I think the writing is on the wall with Hughes eventually not signing here. Why would he? He is the biggest trade chip to accelerate a much-needed rebuild. All this team has done with this core is mess up. Let Tanev walk, let Toffoli walk, lost Markstrom for no assets, then they traded for OEL. His buyout penalty is another reason the Vancouver Canucks are not competitive. If losing Toffoli and Tanev's depth didn't do it, the OEL trade put the nail in the coffin. They chose JT over Bo. Okay, no problem. But then they went on to trade JT as well. Everyone just wants a plan for continued success. Not the same hope for the best. If everything goes right, we're a playoff team. A proper rebuild will allow to build a team the right way, and everyone is dying for a competitive Canucks era again. It's been 13 years since the last competitive era, and since then, Montreal, San Jose, and Anaheim have already put themselves in a better spot than the Canucks, and their last competitive window wasn't as long as 13 years ago. So, with that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the David Pagnotta Canucks trade update and comments on the rebuild. Hughes, Pettersson, everything else in between. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. That helps out with the algorithm, and comments, they help out too. But yeah, it's tough being a Canucks fan, isn't it? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.